Are we alone in the universe? It's a question scientists have tried to answer for a long time, and we may be a step closer to answering that question. A team of Harvard researchers believe they have discovered fragments of alien technology. The pieces were from a meteor that landed in the ocean near Papua New Guinea back in 2014. But the team has a lot more debris to sort through in their research. Professor Avi Loeb led that team of researchers, and he joins me now for more. Professor, thank you so much for joining us. Let's start with what you found. What can you tell us about these spheres that you've recovered from the ocean floor?
Thanks for having me. These are metallic marbles that we identified through a microscope. So that's a new way of doing astronomy. Instead of looking for what's outside the solar system using telescopes, we were using microscopes. And we collected magnetic material from the ocean floor that is 2 kilometers deep. And first we put it in vials, as you see here. I just received some of the material by FedEx a few hours ago. And then we filtered out the tiny particles that are volcanic ash, and we were left with particles that are 0.5 millimeter in size. We look at them through the microscope, and we saw that they are spherical. These are called spherules, which are the melted droplets from the surface of the object, which moved too fast to be bound to the sun. It came from interstellar space. It's the first time that humans put their hands on material from a large object that entered the solar system from outside.
So I got two sets of questions. Let's stick first with the little marble objects. How do we know those mean anything more than just some combination of things that melted while it was zooming through space? Why is it possibly technology?
Based on the US government data, we inferred that the material strength of this meteorite was higher than all space rocks cataloged by NASA over the past decade, even iron meteorites. And the question is, what was it made of? And perhaps it formed in some natural environment that is different from a planetary system like the solar system, but perhaps also it is technological in origin. A spacecraft like Voyager, imagine Voyager 1 billion years from now going to interstellar space and colliding with a planet and burning up in the atmosphere of the planet as a meteor. That's a possibility. This object was moving faster than 95% of all stars in the vicinity of the sun. And so we decided to go out and check any leftovers from that meteor explosion, and we found it. So now we're planning to analyze it at Harvard University and figure out what it was made of.
And now the other question, which is, we don't exactly get things arriving from other solar systems that often, right? Help us understand how big a deal it is, and is that why it's called Interstellar Meteor 1? Because there isn't one before it.
Right. This is the first one identified by US government sensors, mostly satellites, and we didn't discover any such object before. It was more than 0.5 meter in size and released a few percent of the energy output of the Hiroshima atomic bomb when it exploded 20 kilometers above the Pacific Ocean. And we were able to localize the path of the meteor. We found these spherules, droplets that were melted off its surface where we expected. They were concentrated in that region. And the hope is that we can infer whether it was artificial in origin, because just imagine semiconductors being melted. The droplets will include a much higher abundance of rare elements that are not found in such concentrations in nature.
Professor Avi Loeb, fascinating. Good luck with your research from Harvard University. Thank you, Professor.
Thanks for having me.